Right, welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian. We're going to be doing a review, a full spoiler review for The Mandalorian. If you haven't seen it yet, do. I can actually highly recommend it. So, you know, if you haven't seen it and you don't want the spoilers and you're going to click off, just go knowing that it's actually really, really good. Genuinely. Surprising, in fact, because obviously Disney is currently a shit show with all of their Star Wars stuff. So this came as a huge surprise. Now, in terms of why this is so good is that, well, I don't know really. It's very, very difficult to figure out exactly why this is so good. The people behind it are behind other things in Star Wars. So it's a wonder why everything isn't this good. I don't know why, you know, what this says to the production of the movies or anything along those lines, because this clearly has a lot of money spent on it. So let's get into, let's get into parts of the story. So the leaks which came out a little while ago, which I did label as rumor, are completely false. Like, this is not Boba Fett. This is not a Boba Fett story in any way, shape, or form. There is a package that the Mandalorian is looking to get. And that kind of rounds us out to the end. But I'll get to that in a little bit. So, we're introduced to a fairly self-contained world. The Mandalorian is on some Tatooine-esque planet, chasing down bounties, basically. Well, starts out actually on an ice planet. It's part of the trailer that Disney Plus released an extended look of the bar scene. That's on an ice planet, and he gets his bounty, and he then takes his bounty to this Tatooine-esque planet. Now, in that scene, that opening scene, that's the bar scene, it shows us a lot. So it introduces us to Pedro Pascal's The Mandalorian. It introduces us to the kind of gritty nature of this show as well. And it is relatively gritty. I mean, you don't see like blood or anything like that, but it's relatively gritty. I wouldn't necessarily say it's definitely not for kids, though, because you don't see any of the kind of dismemberment going on. I would say it's as for kids and, you know, it's as for adults as like the original trilogy are, if that makes any sense. But you don't really see any dismemberment here, not like, you know, the original movies. And then once Mando, the Mandalorian, because he doesn't have a name, he's literally just the Mandalorian, goes and gets his bounty, we go back to his ship. Now this is where we learn that the frozen in carbonite has now become a thing. Because this is set post Empire. The Empire's gone now. So the remnants are still kind of there. But this is where we learn that now the frozen in carbonite is definitely a thing. It's something which is pretty much near universally used by the looks of it. The Mandalorian himself has a lot of them. A lot in his ship. In fact, he's got like a mobile carbonite freezing unit in his ship, which is, I mean, cool. Like, you know, really, really good. And then drops off his bounties. We learn again that the Empire is no more because he's looking to get his money, and so that's Empire kind of credit, so he can't spend them anymore, etc., etc. The Empire's no more, so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of good explanation there without overly, you know, massive loads of exposition. And then we get introduced to the Werner Herzog character, which is great. Really, really cool. But I mean, that guy could narrate someone sitting on the toilet and you'd still be interested, right? The guy has a fantastic voice. And this is where we learn that there's another big bounty. There's something huge that the Mandalorian is going to go and get. And he does. And that's kind of it. It's a really self-contained story. So he then goes to this new planet where we see our Nick Nolte character, which I don't know whether they actually got him in the prosthetics or not, because obviously the mouth isn't moving that much in line with the words that he's speaking. So I'm inclined to think that they did, but I'm also not really sure. They may have just got him to do a voiceover. But that was really, really good. Nick Nolte is like some little alien. I mean, they're all aliens, aren't they? So he's a little alien dude that helps the Mandalorian out to then go to this outpost where apparently a bunch of people have been stowing away on this planet. There's not been any peace. We get our Taika Waititi IG-11 unit, who does get killed, FYI, if you can get killed as a droid. And they find what they were looking for, a 50-year-old Yoda child, or Yoda species child. Really interesting. Now, there's a few things to kind of unpack here before I get on to why this is so good. Like, because there is some really, really good reasons for why this is actually good. The Yoda creature, because it's definitely not Yoda, FYI, because it's set after the Empire. Now, the species of the Yoda, whatever species they actually are, has been kept very, very secret by George Lucas. There's not been any outside of Yoda and Yaddle, the female, looks like it's wearing a bloody toupee, in the prequel trilogy. There's not been any Yodas floating about. But now we learn that there is a baby Yoda that's 50 years old. And interesting that Werner Herzog, he seems to be a remnant of the Empire. He's got stormtroopers around him, for goodness sake. And he wants the creature. He wants it, but also a scientist that is under him wants it as well. Potentially dead, but not. Why? Very odd. Maybe they think that they have like some special connection to midichlorians and the Force, I guess. I don't know, really. It definitely throws it out for some big questions further down the line. It's a good ending. It's a good hooker to end on, because you go, oh, I'm keen on this now. I want to explore this. I want to see what's going on here. So I was really, really enthralled by that. The budget for this is less than most of the movies. It's 120 million, right? And that's the rumoured budget anyway. And there's 8 episodes. This one in particular was directed by Dave Filoni, who is supposedly like the head of most of the Star Wars business, like the story group and things like that. And he really seems to understand how to frame and direct Star Wars. So there's even scene transition swipes. Genuinely, swipe transitions and things like that, like cutaways, which are bang on for the original trilogy. And I don't know whether it's just nostalgia that kind of piques your interest there and makes you go, oh, that's great. But it looked really, really good. Even with those old kind of cutaway style scene transitions, it was really, really decent. He really does know framing. And again, I think with respect to this, how good this is and how good a director Dave Filoni is, or the like, people like that, will only be revealed further down the line, because you can replicate someone's work, but only up until a certain point. So I don't know whether this will hold up further down the line, but this episode was very, very good. And I've got a few small gripes with it, but it's not even really gripes. So this is something which Star Wars, as now a franchise, needs to learn. The effects on this are not great, but I don't give a shit, right? They're riding some creatures, some like gigantic tadpole creatures with legs towards the end. And the effects are not perfect, right? You can definitely tell it's CGI. It doesn't look that good. But I don't care, because I'm actually interested in the episode and the story at that point in time. You can spend all the money in the world, like Kathleen Kennedy has been doing on these shitty Star Wars movies, getting this epic effects, but as the story's not there, no one cares. You can have all of the effects in the world, but without the story, no one gives a toss. And the effects on this, like I say, are not perfect. In fact, in some parts, they are bad. But I don't care. Now, I have a few other gripes. And it's not even a gripe, really. It's more just like a point of notice. The way Pedro Pascal walks in that armor, he walks very uncomfortable. He doesn't look very natural walking around in it. And I don't know why that is. Maybe he wasn't used to it. Maybe it improves. I don't know. But yeah, there you go. That's really my main gripes, to be perfectly honest. It was a really nice self-contained story. Good 38, 40 minutes worth. Very, very good. Music was bang on as well. The score, composition, solid. Really, really solid. Not perfect CGI by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't give a shit because the story was great. I now want to watch this on a week-by-week basis to figure out what is going on with this little Yoda baby thing. You know, I'm actually invested now. Kathleen Kennedy, fuck off. Go away. We need to just get Dave Filoni on board. Whoever is behind this, just get them on board. Because you're crap by comparison. This genuinely makes everything else look embarrassing. There you go. There's my spoiler-filled review of The Mandalorian. If you've watched it, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please do let me know. Again, a few people will be asking how have I watched it in the UK. I'm not going to tell you. It just is what it is. That's, again, kind of clues in that, I guess. But yeah, if you've watched it, please do let me know down below in the comment section. If you're new here, make sure you do hit subscribe. I will be reviewing this on a week-by-week basis because I'm genuinely interested in it now. So yeah, come back if you want another one of my reviews. It was great. It was really... It's a return to form. There you go. It was a genuine return to form. Anyway, guys, I've been Mr. H. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.